Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Landed for Success VIP member interview with myself, Anil, the Goya Mentorship Show. And today we have the distinct pleasure of interviewing Miss Balbir Pabila. And I hope I pronounced your name correct. Um, and she is based out of the Toronto market. Incredible young lady helping her community, and she helps individuals and couples deal with legal matters and stuff that they didn't realize that they can get help with. And she's going to share some of that today, how that has worked out for her in the last 8 years, being a leader in the field with the platform she's in. So, welcome to our interview today, Balbir.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to have a chat with us. So the first thing I want to ask you is, so who are you? Who is Balbir? If I was walking down the street and I ran into you and I go, "Hi, my name is Anil. Tell me about yourself. Like, who are you?" And share some stuff about yourself.
So I was actually born in India. I grew up in a little town in England, and immigrant parents, and I was at school, and what I realized was I didn't know how to be me. I was following everybody else. I was following what everybody else was guiding me. Fast forward a few years. I actually rather accidentally came across computer studies, and which is where I ended up as being in IT as a software development. But I started right at school, but not for the reasons that typically I just wanted to get away from school because it was not a happy place for me.
Hmm.
So going to the local college was it was my escape from school because it wasn't a fun place. I didn't know that I would actually fall in love with computing, with programming. So that's where my love came from. And I was in that field. I studied, I was in a software house, and eventually got married. And this is all still in England. I had two babies. My then husband said he got a transfer to Canada. And so we came here, two young babies, starting fresh. And it was exciting. It was interesting. My sister was here in Ottawa as well, but we moved into the Toronto area. And I went straight back into IT job. And of course, then life hits you. You get downsized and you're thinking, now what do I do? And I came across these different network companies because I was networking. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I met somebody that were in these in the particular company that I'm now in, and I thought, why would I need this? I'm not a bad person. Because I thought that's what it was for. I thought you had to be bad, you had to be a criminal in order to. I'm like, no, they said no. So at that time, I was going through a rough patch with my um, then husband. And I used these services to actually get educated, to find out what my options were, because I didn't know. I'd never gone through anything like this before. And talking to family, well, that was not going to be an option at all because they were very biased. And and I needed to have some independent advice. And that's what I got. So after about 6 or 7 months, and I started working on myself. I started doing a lot of personal development, and I realized what I wanted was not in this relationship. I still didn't know what I wanted, but I did know what I didn't want. And these services helped me from that dark place into something that I could see the light for a life, for a mission, and a way of earning some income as well. And that's what I do today is I help individuals, families, and even business owners as well have access to the legal system so that they make the right choice that doesn't have to always be very costly. It can be very cost effective to get the right advice. And when you know what your options are, you can go down that route of hiring a full-time lawyer and the legal expenses that will go with that. But there are other options. And sometimes knowing what your options are before you go down a route that could be no return, that could make all the difference. And it did make that difference for me because I was able to do all that and come out well.
Hmm. Fantastic. Well, I'm listening to you and I'm really into your story and it's remarkable. Sometimes, we meet someone and unless they open up and share, we don't know what they've been through. And you've been through quite a bit. I mean, you're moving from England, with your children and with your husband and coming to Toronto or, Canada, and then having to go through what you went through. And it's kind of interesting how you bridge the gap between where you were at and coming across this business on your journey on your path. I bet if someone said to you years prior in England, hey, you're going to go to Canada and get into legal services and be helping families and stuff, you go, no, 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 I'm an IT lady. I'm into tech and computer programming and stuff like that. So it's interesting how life throws us these curveballs, and you, instead of playing victim, you stepped up to the plate and swung your bat and hit that curveball out of the park. And that's really remarkable. Not many people can have the courage to do what you did. So I want to commend you for that. That takes tremendous courage, because I'm not a mom. I don't have children. I don't know what you had to go through. So I'm not gonna say I understand. What I'm gonna say is thank you for sharing that story. So, and I'm sure today your customers, you are a blessing to them because of what you've been through. Sometimes we're going through things and we can't see the forest because of the trees, and because we're so overwhelmed by what's going on. But the minute we get out of that situation or the dust clears, then we can see the sunlight, right? So it sounds like that's where your life is at right now. So moving forward now, Balbir, why did you choose Landed for Success? So why you part of this platform, and what would you say to the Landed for Success member watching this interview right now that you want to connect with based on who you are now and what you're up to?
Well, I'm a firm believer that you meet the right people at the right time when you're ready. I came across these services when I was ready. Like you said, had I met somebody that did this thing 10 years before that, I would have dismissed it. It wouldn't have even registered. And I had met somebody from Landed for Success a long time ago, but I wasn't ready. And so when I came across this recently, and I thought, you know what, maybe this is something that I now need to explore because I was ready to share this with the world. Up until then, I just wanted to not come out. And I thought, well, how can I do this business if people don't see me, if people don't know that I exist? And I thought, if I get the strength to share my story, hopefully it'll give some others courage, what I went through, the courage to um, see that there is light at the end of the tunnel if they choose it. You have to want something, and not stay in that victim mode because I'm a solution finder. I didn't know this existed. And I thought, wow, this is over 5 decades old now. How come no one told me about it before? Well, maybe they had. I just wasn't ready to receive it. So, so this is why Landed for Success. I joined recently because I was ready to, I was ready for it. I wasn't ready for it before.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, it's the same thing I say with clients that come to me and say, no, I want to work with you now. And that's the first thing I say is, good, you're ready. Because unless we get to that state of readiness, we're not open to receive, right? And you've done something remarkable. You went from being in a job for decades to a business owner, which is not an easy transition. It's not. It's a difficult transition because it's almost like you have to take your brain out and shake it up and put it back in. So you've done remarkable in the last while serving your clients. I know you shared with me stories of situations where you've helped clients, and even in your own situation, having access to legal services going through your divorce was good because you were able to find solutions and get through the storm, weather that storm. So for those of you watching this interview, go to the VIP membership section in Landed for Success and reach out to Balbir and have a conversation with her. Maybe there is something you're dealing with that she can assist you with what the services she offers. So just share again quickly, Balbir, what kind of services can you offer someone? Maybe you want to give a couple examples of how you were able to help a client with your services.
Well, there's so many, and a lot of them are from personal experience as well. But simple things like, well, I say simple. One of the things that people put off is getting their wills and powers of attorney done. It's a very cost-effective way of getting it done. Costs about, a cup of coffee a day for these services. Protect your whole family. If you've ever been metered and you just don't know what to do, you don't know what your options are, you can literally pick up the phone and say, hey, what do I do? I When I wanted to swap out my hot water tank for a tankless model because I thought, I don't need 60 gallons of hot water now that I'm on my own. Um, I was speaking to a representative of a company, and they told me all these good things that I wanted to hear. It was a rent to own unit, and I thought, great. But when I asked for the contract and I sent it off to my law firm, and they came back to me and they told me a few things that were not in my favor, like they could put a lien on the house, and the unit would not be mine unless there was an extra fee. And I phoned up the company and I said, hey, this is not what I wanted. This is not what the rep had verbally told me. And they said, for you, Miss Pabila, we'll waive that fee at the end and we won't put a lien on the house. And there was another couple of things as well. And they said, great, put it in writing, email it to me, and you can install it tomorrow. And the first thing that the tech said to me when he came was, you had your contract reviewed. And I said, yes, doesn't everybody? And he said, no, people find out 5 years later that they're actually in a lot of trouble, that they're not what they signed up for later. You were one of the very few who got the contract reviewed and was able to stand up. And I says, well, that's not legal. He says, yes, but that's what the company does. That's their standard. And I thought, well, if I hadn't, would I have got it reviewed had I not have this service? Probably not. There's no way that I'm going to think about hiring a three, four, $500 an hour lawyer to review this contract. But because I already had it, I was like, why not? So now I use any excuse to use these. I mean, we've had so many. We had um, another member have some driving issues, and he was going into court. He could have asked the law firm to go and represent him and pay an extra fee for that, but he decided to go in on his own. But the law firm coached him what to say. And he came back out and he says, thank goodness for the advice from the lawyer who coached him exactly what to say in the courtroom. So it's the little things. But would he have, he would have probably have had spent thousands of dollars to have representation or even get the advice if it had not been for this service. But this, we have services for business owners as well, reviewing contracts before they go into partnerships with other business owners. Review the contracts, make sure it's in your favor as well as the others. And having that advice, if people don't pay, um, wouldn't it be nice for you to keep all the money that's collected as opposed to hiring a collection agency? It's part of the package that we can help business owners keep most of their money and having a predictable cash flow, a predictable low cash flow, and know that they have a law firm that they can phone anytime, Monday to Friday, is huge.
Oh, wow. That's good to know. So I hope you're paying attention to what Balbir is saying. One of my friends said this to me years ago. He says, Anil, you know what the definition of a lawyer is? A definition of a lawyer is someone who has taken the time to read the fine print. So most of us, and I will be one of the first people to admit it, is I don't read pages and pages and pages of fine print. I trust whoever is introducing me to something that they have my back. But sometimes that person who is getting you involved in a contract, they don't know what the contract says either. They're just doing their job. It's like this hot water tank. I bet you the person installing the hot water tank maybe has never read the contract they have people sign. They're just doing their job. So it's really good that you provide that service, Balbir, to clients. And we have a lot of business owners in Landed for Success that they're so busy on their daily basis, running their businesses, spending time with family, taking care of their health and well-being. They don't have time sometimes to put things in place to protect themselves and their business and their family and with the proper paperwork. And they sign things that they haven't really reviewed properly. So it's really good that you provide that service. So that's awesome that you're part of the Landed for Success community now. And I want to suggest to you to take the time to reach out to the Landed for Success members and find out who they are, what they're up to, and how you can help them with the services you offer. So that's incredible. Thanks for sharing what you did. So the final question I have for you is, what would you share with a Landed for Success member so that it would encourage them to get a hold of you, to get to know you, to find out what you can do for them, to protect them, and put them in a place where they can sleep peacefully at night and they don't have to worry. What would you say to someone watching this interview right now, that you want them to take action on?
I would just like them to reach out to me. I love to get to know people because maybe these services aren't for them. Maybe they don't need them, and that's okay. But maybe their service, I can connect them with somebody that they could be a great client for them. So it's not always um, me being on the receiving end. I do have a lot of connections, and I like to connect the right people with the right clients. So I love to get to know you and find out more and see how I can help support you as well. Because it's not always um, receiving is not necessary. Sometimes giving is, what's that word? More satisfactory than receiving. And I just want to help people. I just want to help people help them succeed and not be treated or mistreated, and and yeah, just to see them not mistreated.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful way to be. That's a great energy. I mean, we all know the saying, there is more happiness in giving than in receiving. And that's a powerful statement. And I can definitely feel that from you. I can tell you're an awesome lady and an amazing person, and you're very professional as well. And so I have full faith that anyone that connects with you through Landed for Success is going to benefit. So please take the time to reach out to Balbir and talk to her and get to know her. As she said, it's not always about business, it's connecting and chatting and discovering what's there, what's missing, what could be put in place. And maybe she may want to know what you're up to and learn from you so that she can better herself in her life. So thank you for your time today, Balbir, sharing about your journey so far through life, and I really appreciate and value your vulnerability, your openness, your honesty, and I can definitely tell your clients today are blessed and grateful to have you in their corner. And our goal is to help you acquire more clients through Landed for Success so you can continue being a blessing with thousands and thousands of people that you're going to be meeting through our networking and events and NIF.ca and everything that's coming down the pipeline. So thank you for your time today, and we wish you all the best. On behalf of the leadership team with Landed for Success, lots of success, and welcome to being a VIP member with Landed for Success.
Thank you so much, Anil. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have yourself a wonderful day.
You.